Hey y'all, grown black folks talk. An extension on vetting. I've learned a lot in the past 2 weeks, I really have. And I'm standing here in San Francisco's warm winter spring. You know, the world is changing in ways that we really need to pay attention to for our safety and security. And something came back to mind over the last week that I had forgot to tell you about in vetting. Do your background checks, do all those things, but there's something else you need to look for. Do not make alliances with postmodernists. Just don't do it. Let me break that down for you. We don't have time to go into this, but a group of European intellectuals, 30 to 60 years ago, began putting forth this idea that we must do away with the idea of absolute truth. And they said that absolutely. And this illustrates the problem with postmodernism, that the only absolute is that we should do away with absolutes. It's absolutely necessary for us to do away with all absolutes. The contradictions right there. It goes back to something that's very deep, and then I'll break it down to the midday. When man fell into sin, and Satan fell into sin, the sin was you are really a universe made by God, and you want to redefine it so you can be God instead. That was the sin of both. So the idea is the absolutes that God put in place don't matter. We're going to do our own thing. Well, postmodernism is an intellectual way of looking at this. Darwin, a century before that, put forth the absolute that man is the top of evolution. He was talking about white men. And this gave the pseudoscientific backing to white supremacy. But now let's bring this down a level. Why was this universally accepted? Because Europe had the might to make it accepted, which also tells you something else. People who believe this kind of thing propose it from the top because they know they have the might to enforce it. If your truth and my truth are equal, but we must have order in society to be able to do things together, well, whose viewpoint's going to take precedence? The one who can force it. So you hear men out here expressing their desire to be married to young virgins, but they want to wait until they've had their fill, 35, 40, 50. They want to disqualify the women that they've had sex with. They don't want to be virgins, but they want to impose virginity on you, except when they want some. That's the whole idea about there are no absolutes except the absolutes I want to create for you. Same thinking. Men will say things that will throw you under the bus as a black woman for a white woman, or at least a woman accepted as a white woman, and then want you to change the English language to make him right. That's postmodernism. Because changing times and laws includes changing the rules about how we understand English. Because if I can change how you understand language, and I can change you to mean that this word actually means this over here when it doesn't, then I have ruled your mind. I have control. Let's see if I can get some sunlight. I have control of your mind. This is what is at issue here. Do not make alliance with postmodernists, because in a world in which might makes right, unfortunately, black women are still at the bottom. We're women. We're not as strong as men. We don't have economic access, and we're black. So, the easy test for this, listen to what people say, and then watch what they do when you question them. Because when God came and questioned Adam, he made every excuse, including blaming Eve. They'll make every excuse. They will wiggle around. When you hear that, don't do business with them. Don't be friends with them. Definitely do not get into a sexual relationship with anyone that you're not married to at this moment. But do not get into relationships with them. Find that out first. Find that out first. You know, everybody got social media. While you check social media, find something this person said. Make it innocuous. You know, and see how they respond to it. Make it happen. Because a postmodernist will kill you and say it is his right because it is his truth. Like Raj Black decided that his truth was that since he couldn't figure out how to make it work with two women and get his way with the children, his truth was that he had the right to kill both those women. Black women are being dismissed from this planet 4 times a day by men who feel it is their right. And you think about the people, the men that support that foolishness, because it's their truth that they should have the right to do that. And if you let them get into any position of authority over you, their truth is that they have the right to destroy you when you show them up. for not being God. As it was in the beginning, it now and ever shall be. Yep, it now and ever shall be, y'all. Until, of course, for those Christians, you understand, until Jesus comes and puts the world back on order, that's how it's going to be. So when you hear people wanting you to understand the English language a different way, when you hear people putting out rules for you that they don't intend to follow, that's a postmodernist. It's also a Satanist. Do not make alliances with them. And if you find yourself talking to people and they confront you with information, Joe, this is my truth, you are too. You're not going to be able to choose better unless you are better. Everybody is entitled to their story, their opinion, their experience. But only God can say, I will. And it's done. And if you have that attitude, you're just going to be the bigger, stronger postmodernist than you. And you're going to get your life messed up or ended. So a lot of us women, black women, we need to purge ourselves from that too. We don't have any more rights to godhood than the men do. And if you're going to actually choose better and be chosen by better, you too have to learn to walk in truth. This was an absolute statement. I stand by every word in the proper Webster's and Oxford's English language definition of those words. Those of you who saw Themis and Thoughts last night will know what I'm referring to. All right. By the way, to the subscriber that sent me the earbuds, I was doing fine and couldn't get it to work till I realized I needed to charge them. So we're still a day behind upgrading. But you know who you are, and thank you again. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. Goodbye.